Okay, Michael, we're going to do a bit of a quiz here.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to guess which superhero is getting a new live-action film this year for the first time ever.
Oh. Do I get any clues, or is it just is the game just that I guess?
Yeah, guess. Well, let's see how you do first before I give you a clue.
First time ever. That makes it difficult. Oh goodness me.
Yeah, because it's been so fucking.
I know exactly. Yeah, there's like not many that haven't had one. I'm just trying to think about cause to be honest, Luke, I'm not like a great big comic book nerd.
I'll give you a clue.
Okay.
DC.
DC. So
she's pretty famous.
Famous women, eh? Oh, is it Starfire?
It's not Starfire.
Oh,
no.
is it like one of the ones on like the Justice League?
I think she's probably in the Justice League at some point. Yeah.
Well, I know there's like somebody called, I think, Raven.
Okay, it's pretty. Okay, right. I'll give you another clue. This should tip you over the edge. It's a movie that she's in a movie that we are reviewing in a little while.
It's in a superhero film we're reviewing. Wait, I'm not actually looking for it because. Oh. Is it Poison Ivy?
It is not Poison Ivy because she's not a superhero.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I just thought maybe you didn't know. So, I mean, we're reviewing 2 Batman films coming up. Spoiler alert. Is it to do with those 2 Batman films?
He's getting very close. I think he might get it soon.
Well, if it's from Batman... Oh, Batgirl.
Oh my god, that took you 4 minutes. Wow. And Michael will cut some of this stuff out.
I will cut
but it
some
took
out.
him
so that everyone will know that it took me no time at all because I'm so good at this.
Oh, fucking hell. Well, there you go. A Batgirl movie. Fantastic.
Wow, because I've got a Batgirl TV series, which I heard is really good. Hello and welcome to Select and Reflect, the movie review podcast where we look at films that have come out in the near and distant past, we give them a couple of watches, and evaluate them beyond first impressions. I'm your host Michael, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Luke, and this week we are celebrating the beginning of the Oscars by looking at some of the films which won or were nominated for Best Picture in their various categories, and we're so kind we even count films nominated for and that won Best Animated Picture, even though animation is for children. So despite the fact that we're not children, we will be looking at the film which won Best Animated Picture last year, which is Soul. So Luke, why don't you tell us a thing or two about Soul?
I got soul, but...
Hold on, isn't it? I just realised the whole song, like the genre is in this film is jazz rather than soul.
You know what? I was actually going to bring that up because I don't have a massive knowledge of music, but I know soul and jazz are different, and in fact, they may even have a bit of rivalry.
Oh, like goths and emos.
Yeah, like I believe soul is from Memphis, jazz is from New Orleans.
Yes,
that's where they originated from, and of course, those 2 cities are fairly close, as close as you can be in America, in the South, and so a bit of a rivalry going on there, perhaps. But no, this movie's called Soul, and it's about jazz. Yeah, there you go. It is what it is. I think what's that character from that movie with Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling?
Oh yeah, he's called Sebastian.
Sebastian.
I know he's called Sebastian because I know that film. I was thinking about that film, especially the bit where Ryan Gosling says in hushed tones, like, when people say they hate jazz, because he doesn't want to offend the jazz players because everyone hates their shitty music.
Okay. Anyway, so Soul is a 2020 American computer animated film produced by Pixar Animation Studios and Walt Disney as well.
The Walt Disney?
Yeah, the Walt Disney.
He came alive just to make this film.
Yeah, I mean, that was his purpose.
Well, yeah, that is true. Like, yeah, he's right there in the great beyond right now.
Yeah, being anti-Semitic.
Yes.
Yeah, that... they never go into the great beyond, unfortunately. But anyway, this movie was directed by Pete Docter.
Yes.
And that is his actual name, of course. I'm not making that up. Pete Docter.
I know. Yeah. Pete's such a weird name.
His purpose, of course, was to, make movies.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell by the name, can't you?
Yeah. So
it's like Pete Docter sat there, like, what should I be? What should my job be?
Yeah. Anyway, Mike Jones, Kemp Powers also wrote this movie. It stars quite a list of characters here. Obviously, actual people playing characters, but you know what I mean. Jamie Foxx, Tina Fey, Graham Norton, Rachel House, Alex Braga, Richard Ayoade,
yes,
Priscilla Rashad, I like how you said yes after I said Richard Ayoade.
That's how nationalistic I am. Just as soon as you mention a British person, just yes.
Oh yeah, Graham Norton's Irish, isn't he?
Oh yeah, exactly. That's true.
Yeah, sorry for that. Felissa Rashad, Donnell Rawlings, Questlove, and Angela Bassett. The movie was released on October the 11th, 2020 at the BFI Fest, but on December the 25th, 2020 in the United States. So yeah, Michael, tell me what the budget was for this movie.
Well, quite a lot, because it was animated, which would take a lot, and also it has quite a list of actors in it. I mean, it's not like as star-studded. Like, I mean, it's not got like, you know, your Leonardo DiCaprio's, your Tom Hankses. You know, I mean, who really cares about Richard Ayoade? But then, having said that, it would be useful if I knew what every other Pixar film cost. Because
well, I don't really have that.
I think it costs less than Toy Story 4. That's my radical prediction. 45 million pounds.
I mean, put it in dollars, Michael. So what's that in
dollars? That's $60 million.
You know, I did that. I realised I really should have a sound when you fuck up.
Okay, good.
Because you have gone more than so obviously the budget is 150.
Oh wow!
And you went half of that is 75, so you went below half. So that's another mark against you. So well done, you did it once more. So 2 out of 3 times you've guessed less than half the budget.
Okay.
Compared to what it was in these guesses. So great start. I'm loving this new system.
Yeah, it is quite fun. I'm enjoying it too.
I actually enjoy you fucking up.
I enjoy me fucking up.
Can you tell me how much money this made at the box office, Michael?
So, like, hold a minute. Wait, when did this film come out relative to COVID? Because
December 25th, 2020.
So that's got to create some issues, right?
I would suggest so, yes.
Oh, yeah, so... But then, like... I mean, in that case, it could be fucking anything. Like, it could be that they did some kind of weird, like, Disney Plus thing. Oh crap!
You mean just release it on Disney Plus? That weird Disney Plus thing.
Yeah, that weird Disney Plus thing they do. Like, why did they do that? Yeah, I genuinely am like, it could literally. I mean, obviously, so I don't think it's going to be as bad as like Don't Look Up. I'm not retarded. I mean, you know, we'll let what I say be the judge of that. I mean,
I like how you're using the R word so much more. I know, nowadays. Yeah, I know. It's great.
Maybe it's just because the floodgates are open. Anyway, it made. I mean, goodness me, like, I literally have no idea. And you could literally, like, almost anything you tell me wouldn't surprise me because of, like, the whole COVID thing.
Remember, if you get below half or above double, it's another mark.
I mean, I'm just going to go for that it made... Oh, fuck. It made 100 million.
Ah, damn it. You got it right. Oh. I mean, it's 120, so you don't get a mark against you. But yeah, 121 million at the box office. So yeah, I thought you might go for that, just 100 million.
Well, I was thinking of going for 150 million, but like, oh, I made its money back. But yeah, I got slightly closer than that still.
Yes, exactly. So no, a decent guess there.
So I'm still at half of my answers being within the green.
Yeah, half and half so far. But anyway, basically this movie may be the first one we've done that's really affected by COVID. I'd have to go back and check. Obviously, a lot of movies we're doing this year because, you know, the previous year's Oscar movies weren't affected by COVID because they came out in 2019, of course. But yeah, so this might be the first one. And as you said, Michael, this movie won Best Picture at the Academy Awards.
Best animated.
Yeah. What did you think I was going to say?
I thought you were just going to say Best Picture, and that was it. I thought you were going to say this film won Best Picture because I thought you might have forgotten to say animated. I didn't think you actually thought.
Why would you? I don't mess up like you, Michael. I don't do that.
I'm sorry.
You know. Stop projecting. No, it's fine. I understand. Because obviously it's you can make the mistake, but best animated picture, and it had 3 nominations, best original score as well, it won also for best original score.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, you can probably predict the fact that, of course, it is a fucking movie about music, so you would suspect the music would be good, and I agree with that. I think it should have won for best original score because I thought the score was good. So yeah, that's a thumbs up from me on that. So anyway, Michael, did you like Soul?
You know what, Luke? Yeah, I mean, I liked this movie. Pixar generally make pretty good films. Sometimes they screw up, but they usually make good films. I kind of was trying to think about how I'd rank it relative to other Pixar films, but I would definitely say it is decidedly a good movie. That's my answer.
You know what? I think it's a good movie as well. I think good is the
It's the good word. Yeah,
is a good is a good word because I feel like there was some aspects of this movie I really did like.
Yeah,
particularly towards the end.
Oh, you liked I liked when it was over. That's you.
That's a great joke. It's definitely not overused.
Yeah,
when people say that. Yeah. Anyway, no, I like I did like the end, but it was just the middle, which it just I realized when I was looking down at my notes, I'm just like, I've written nothing for the middle, like a good 30-minute chunk of the movie.
Yeah,
and this movie is only 1.5 hours long, where just nothing really happens.
Yeah, it's like they knew we'd be recording this late, so they were like, let's make sure we don't have too much to talk about.
Yeah, I know. Obviously the beginning is interesting in itself, or the concepts that are explored. But yeah, it is a really movie in thirds, and the final third is definitely the best, and that's where the enjoyment comes from, because you understand what the movie is about, what it's trying to say, and its message.
Yeah,
and
they had us in the first third, not gonna lie.
Yeah, you could kind of tell stuff was there in the first third, but obviously it's fleshed out at the end, and of course we'll discuss it in a bit, really, when we talk about the end of the movie, the overall theme and message of Soul.
Yes.
So, Michael, let's get into nitpicks. How many do you have? I will say, sorry, there's a lot of nitpicks that you may say about the actual concept of the Great Before.
I have I do have a nitpick for that, but it's not a nitpick about something essential to the Great Beyond, so... Okay,
no, that's good. That's how to do it, so continue.
Yeah, so, I mean, with that included, I have two nitpicks.
I have one.
Okay, that means you get to go first.
And I have a nitpick. My nitpick is obviously when fucking Joe and 22 in Joe's body, Joe's in the cat's body, they go to meet Moonwind, and he's flipping his sign around.
Yes.
And they're talking to him about how they can get back into his body and all of that shit. And then the lady who's paying him really cares quite a lot about having this Moonwind guy move her sign around. If he stops doing it for 20 seconds, that is completely unacceptable to her.
Yeah, well, there's also a Vine where this guy's doing that thing of a sign, he's flipping around all over the place, and someone's just filming him I don't know which way the Chipotle is, because it's a sign of Chipotle on it, and he's moving it so much that you can't actually tell which way it is.
That was going to be the second part of my nitpick. You can't even tell where the store is. I was thinking when this lady came out, I was like, oh shit, oh yeah, that must be the store he's advertising for, even though obviously there's no way of knowing. Again, she really, not even for 30 seconds can he just talk to a couple of, well, it was just one person obviously, unless you can't talk to cats. So there we go. And apparently her business will be killed if he just stops for doing it for 30 seconds. So that was it. So go on, what's your... on my lip pick, sorry. I like how they open the movie with the Pixar music just being played badly by the kids.
Yeah, that's quite nice.
That was quite nice. So there you go, Michael. Give me yours.
So my first one is the people aren't immortal, Luke. No, not really. My first one is, why does the crowd, when they're going into the Great Beyond, suddenly become super dense? It goes from being very sparse to suddenly it's a massive throng of people, and there's no reason why. I think they should have had an explanation. It should have been wow, that earthquake sure was terrible. Just explain why there's loads of people there all at once.
I thought about that. Yeah, I actually did put that in my problems with that, but yeah, go on.
And my second one is about 22, which is it's pretty sad actually. If you look when she's flying to Earth, she's heading towards China, and she's a girl, so she's not really going to get to experience Earth.
No, she's not a girl.
Well, I mean...
That's just the voice she has.
Oh, okay, yeah, fine. But, I just wanted to make, the joke that, they, the whole, killing girls thing in China.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but if you paid attention to the movie, you would know you couldn't make that joke.
Yeah, I know.
I actually did have a separate joke about that later on, where I was going to talk about, hope she doesn't go to Uyghur China.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was
Yeah, she was kind of heading to Tibet area?
Yeah, that's what I thought, Tibet, but, it was I'm not really sure. Maybe it's close to Uyghur China, but... I mean, hopefully she does all right. Yeah, hopefully she does. Yeah. Anyway, so Michael, let's get into... Oh, you've done, yeah?
Yes, I am done.
Let's get into the good old plot of this movie. So, well, the concept first, actually. So, this movie is about trying to help people deal with an existential crisis.
Yes.
You know, people who have a passion for something, but basically the message is don't make it your life's purpose and abandon everything else. And it shows this theme in a nice kids movie as well. Which is kind of weird because it's not like... Because normally when... Okay, you can have these themes in these animated kids movies, obviously. But then you have it also appeals to kids.
Yes.
This doesn't really appeal to kids.
That's a good point, yeah. A kid watching this would be so confused.
You wouldn't be confused, I think, if you were a kid. Or maybe you would be about the general
You'd be bored.
theme. But I don't think you'd be bored. It just wouldn't be your favourite movie.
You'd be angry.
Essentially, this guy's a middle-aged guy.
Yeah.
Like, there's a few kids in it, here and there. He has a sidekick, of course, which is 22. But then for a lot of the movie, 22 is just him, and he's a cat.
Yes.
And I was thinking, if you're a kid,
that's true.
Does this movie need to be like an animated kids movie?
That's actually a really good point. Like, I didn't really... Yeah, I guess we're so used to... It's kind of funny, actually, because I opened this whole thing about how animation is for children. But, at this point, we're so used to this whole, like, you can make animated films that adults can enjoy. I didn't really think about the fact that, they really leaned into that with this. Like, I'm not really sure how much a kid would get out of this at all. Like, you compare it to The Incredibles. It's like, this is just... It's like a Coen Brothers movie.
Yeah, I mean... That's the thing I was thinking is like, of course, you can make a movie animated if you like, but there's no real need for it to be animated. Because normally, of course, if you're doing this movie, because if I had thought of this concept, I guess it's easier with the animation with the Great Beyond and stuff. It costs less. Having said that, it did cost about $150 million. So I'm not sure. Maybe CGI would be more expensive for the amount of stuff they'd need to do. But yeah, I was. It was kind of like it's a movie where it doesn't feel really like it's your typical like Pixar animated movie. Which these are still for kids, Michael, right? This movie is still.
Also, was this that film Onward about like the trolls? That was that also a Pixar film?
Yeah. Shit.
And it's kind of funny that they made because I swear those films were released like the exact same year. Right?
Maybe.
Because I think they were both up for Best Picture, and I found that really strange. And it's just funny because
no animated movies released.
I know, exactly, But it was kind of mental as well.
This movie was like 1 to 20. Sorry to put it.
It's okay. Yeah.
In terms of being odds-on favourites, it was a heavy favourite to win Best Animated Picture.
But because the Onward film, I saw that too, and it's like very much a film which a kid would enjoy. And I think an adult wouldn't really get much out of it. So they basically just covered both bases with these two films.
Yeah, and this is it flipped. So anyway, Doctor, obviously Pete Docter, conceived Soul in January 2016, working from his contemplations on the origins of human personalities and the concept of determinism. He co-wrote the screenplay with Mike Jones and Powers. The film's production consulted various jazz musicians and animated its musical sequences using the sessions of musician John Batiste as a reference. That was interesting. But basically, if we just go back to, he was trying to, work out the origins of human personalities and the concepts of determinism. Again, not really like animated movie shit, but hey, get your movie done however you can, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, like you could do this in a kids movie, I guess. You could have a character that kids to appeal to, but that's not really the case here at all. So
well, yeah, I mean, obviously Pete Docter did Inside Out, and like there's some kind of heavy stuff in that about like how sadness is necessary.
But obviously, it's about a fucking kid.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean that's kind of what I'm saying. Like they were able to like. Obviously, that's an example of a film which, like, Inside Out would definitely appeal to adults. They're like, this is saying something pretty substantial about the human condition. But obviously, it also works for kids. So they definitely could have done it. It seems like you really didn't lean into that here.
Yeah, no. Basically, eventually, I'm just looking at this on the Wikipedia page. Basically, Pixar chose to portray the film's main character as a musician because they wanted an appealing profession for the audience and settled that after trying for a scientist, which did not feel so naturally pure. Doctor described Soul as an exploration of things which focused on it. So if you're being a scientist, it's not naturally pure.
Yeah, it's true. So, I mean, scientists are kind of weird.
Yeah, no, they are very weird. But yeah, basically, I don't know. Here's a reason. Soul is Pixar's first film to feature an African American protagonist.
Oh, that's cool. Well done them. It's finally got there.
Pixar was mindful of the history of racist imagery in animation and set out to create characters who were recognizably black while avoiding the stereotypes in old cartoons.
Okay.
Well, I'd fucking hope they do.
Yeah, like, hold on. Yeah, that's like, I mean, like, people have been making non-racist depictions of black people in animation for a while now. Like they were just sat there, like, the only thing they're aware of is, like, old Tom and Jerry things or something, and they're just like, man, I just don't know, like
fucking Dumbo.
Yeah. Like,
it's
you gotta make the lips funny.
Yeah, can we create black characters in our animation?
Yeah, like,
which aren't racist depictions?
Yeah, just like, we're really past the looking glass here, people.
Oh my
it's
god!
Like Pete Docter shows up like, let's make our protagonist black. It's already been done. It's like, yeah, but not racist.
Not
like
racist.
The guy just like drops his coffee cup. Like, can that be done?
Can that be done? No one's tried it in at least 2 years.
Yeah, but I also like how they were mindful of racism, but they did decide to have a scene where a black person gets racially profiled by an authority figure, an enforcement figure in New York City. Obviously, when Terry finds that random black guy, and he's like, gotcha. Oh wait, you're not the one I was looking for.
Yeah, I thought about that, and I thought that was kind of funny. But obviously, he was the one who was walking that way.
Well, Luke, that's thing. I swear, he was the one who was walking that way. It's not a race thing.
You gotta make it a race thing. It'd be worse if like he spots him and it's like, that's Joe Gardner, and Joe Gardner wasn't anywhere near him. And that would be bad. But anyway, so obviously the film centers on a music teacher, Joe Gardner, played by Jamie Foxx, seeking to reunite his soul and his body after they are accidentally separated just before his big break as a jazz musician.
You know, actually, when I think about it, a bit like Pete Docter thinking he should be in animation, Joe Gardner not realizing that there's a pretty obvious thing he should be based on his name. Like, Joe Gardner sat there thinking, what should I be?
But I will say Gardner is much more a common name.
That is true, than Doctor.
We can't all be gardeners, but if your name is Doctor, then there's surely only one life path you should pursue.
Yeah, but I happen to know that it's not even Doctor spelt right. Like which I mean, basically, I guess means you're just a very incompetent doctor, because it's Doctee. It's ER, not OR.
Who the fuck cares? It's pronounced Doctor. Yeah. That's all you need to know. Anyway, so let's get into the script, Michael, of this movie. So Joe Gardner, he dreams of being a pianist. What?
Pianist.
Okay.
Sounds like pianist. Sounds like
great. Yeah. And a professional pianist. Then Joe learns jazz legend Dorothea Williams has an opening in her quartet and auditions at a music club. Impressed with Joe's piano playing, Dorothea hires him for that night's show. As Joe heads off, his excitement distracts him, and he falls down a manhole. Then he dies.
Yeah, and that's it. Roll credits.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I do think it's kind of crazy, because when I was watching this film for the second time, in advance of this, having obviously watched it before for the Oscars.
Okay, we believe you.
I swear. I kind of was remembering things as I was going along, and I was like, I forgot this film literally begins with this whole thing of what if you finally achieve your dream in life and then you die. It's that's a pretty fucking heavy thing to have in your film. It's because obviously people die in films all the time, but that specific idea of the person who just gets that big promotion and then they die in a car crash on the way home, that's pretty intense. So I found
it's black comedy stuff. But as we've learned from God's Not Dead, as long as he accepts God in his life, he should be fine. He should be happy.
And also because he's black, he probably was a Christian.
I mean, he literally does mention that he plays the piano in church. So.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So actually, hold it, that opens up a whole other can of worms. He should have been very confused. Why does he never say, "Where's Jesus?" That's a good point, actually, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, so I think it'd be good if we had another scene before Dorothea needs, his help, because it feels like it happens so soon. His death would be more impactful if things went on a bit longer.
Yeah,
it's more comedic if he dies sooner.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do think that there is a comedic element to this film. I mean, obviously, you said black comedy. I think it would probably be they had to make it a bit black comedy-ish to, I don't know, make it tolerable to the kids anyway. Otherwise they would have been very distressed.
There should have been another scene, because it just feels like...
Yeah, it just happens
It's not... I don't think it was trying to be a black comedy. It wasn't going for that. So that's what I'm saying. There should have been another scene to prevent...
To make you feel, make you feel more, feel it more.
Yeah,
that is true,
yeah.
I mean, to some extent, I'm almost when you've just seen him, I mean, there's kind of a limit to how invested
there should have been a scene when he's at home and he's playing on his piano, and then he gets a call from his former student, to tell him to play at this jazz club.
Where does he get? Where is he when he gets the call from the student? Oh, he bumps into him, doesn't he? Wait, does he?
I think he gets a call.
Yeah, I think
he gets a call outside his classroom, doesn't he?
Oh yeah. They could have had him go home, shown him living his life a bit more.
Yeah, show him living his life, show him his hopes and dreams, like pictures on the wall of like famous jazz pianists, all of that shit, and then he gets the call. Just easy shit like that. Anyway, so, it could use another scene considering how short this movie was as well. It's only 1.5 hours, but anyway, so he dies, Joe. Yes, very very sharp change of pace. But he's, of course, about to go to the great beyond. But he manages to jump off the sliding walkway and goes, to the great before.
Yes.
And, this is when we visit, the afterlife and the before life of this movie. This next section is all about this. And, we realise now it's a movie about all this existential stuff. But anyway, we do have a few issues with the, I guess, before. What would you call these worlds, Michael?
I mean, well, I would just refer to them as they're referred to in the film. Is there a reason not to do that? I mean, we can just call them Great Beyond and Great Before. There's no...
I mean, combined.
Oh, I see. Well, I would call them the pre-post land.
I call them alter life worlds.
Alter life worlds. That's good. I like that.
Yeah, the alter, because I couldn't think of a name. But anyway, so all the nitpicks surrounding this, because here's the thing.
Yeah.
We're going to make some complaints now.
Yes.
And if you watch the movie, you know what we're going to talk about probably, because it's very obvious. And they're going to seem like nitpicks, but when they are all combined together, basically, hopefully, it will show that this concept was not thought through well enough, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, so firstly, he's the only person on this walkway to the great beyond who doesn't want to die.
Yeah.
Surely there have been so many people on that slide who have not wanted to die.
Yeah.
Surely, you think that. Secondly, like you said before in your nitpick, he's alone, and then as he moves further back, he comes up against a bunch of people. Thirdly, everybody else is basically fine with dying. Nobody else is freaking out and asking questions. They're all just waiting and acting like they know what's going to happen, which is, I think, probably maybe the worst thing. Like, everybody's just like, oh yeah, don't worry, Joe. We knew this was going to happen. You're the only one.
Yeah, it's like everyone else just apparently knows about this Great Before thing. Like, oh yeah, it's the Great Before. Yeah, maybe this is set in an alternate world. Like, this is part of the God's Not Dead universe, where nobody has actually heard of Christianity in its universe. So, like, he's the only person who's, like, confused by this. Everyone else is just like, oh yeah, it's the Great Before. Oh, Great Beyond, yeah.
Yeah, Great Beyond, yeah. So I think, well, I say this is the most egregious aspect of this alter world, which is you can escape death. These creatures... They seem to be like all-powerful beings. I like their design.
Yeah, they do look. Yeah, that is clever.
But yet they can't construct, even though they're all-powerful, they can't construct like a decent guardrail to keep one person who just pushes fairly hard, to not fall off this walkway, which is crazy. And obviously, this is considered a significant event because the count is off. The New Zealand account.
I believe you mean, oh, blimey, mate, it looks like the count is off.
The count is off. I'll never get the count wrong. I'm always right.
Yeah.
Something fucking...
Yeah, well, of course, if they were Australian, they wouldn't be saying count. They'd be saying a different word with almost the same letters.
Yeah, mate, but Kiwis don't say that, obviously.
Yeah.
Kiwis don't do that. But yeah, so therefore, this is an unusual event. This should be happening all the time.
Yes.
If the barriers are that bad, surely, Michael.
No, yeah, exactly. I mean, you almost think like, considering the fact that, does he try to jump off? I'm kind of just like trying to work out, or does he kind of like fall off in the commotion? Like he's trying to run away and he gets knocked off.
I think he tries to jump off, yeah.
Oh, okay,
he jumps and then just pushes through and then he falls.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, that's fine. I was going to say, because if he accidentally fell off, then that would open up a whole other thing. Like, oh, so you can just accidentally fall off.
Yeah, so this is it's stupid because either this happens and it's fairly common, or this and they say it's once in a century thing, or this never happens.
In which case, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's unbelievable that he is the only guy who's ever managed to do this in centuries.
This is also a plot point in the Stephanie Meyer book, The Host, where the main character is the only human being who doesn't want to have her body taken over by aliens, and you're just supposed to believe, just as the one person who didn't like the idea of her body being taken over by aliens. I guess it's
I mean, that's Stephanie Meyer. Well, she's the one that wrote Twilight's books, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. She really fell off.
The only one who would ever want to date a vampire.
That's true. Yeah. You're right.
I mean, I'm just saying, there's parallels there.
Yeah, exactly. Like everybody, and that's the thing. People like their unique characters, and I guess that's it. Like when you think about it, I mean, how insane would it be to be like, yeah, it's just you're the only person who, didn't want to die. I mean, in many ways, like that's even more egregious. Like at least like with the whole alien thing, it's kind of like an unfamiliar enough concept that you can be like, yeah, I mean, I don't know, how would I feel about aliens taking over my body? But death, I think we all know a thing or two about death, and we can all say that. I mean, well, not everyone, of course. I can understand that like woman who's 106, yeah, okay, she's fine with dying. But considering how many people die in situations literally just like, that dude, where like everything's going well, and then you die, there's gonna be loads of people who want to be like, oh, take me back.
What would Hitler want to do?
I think about that. To be honest, like, I mean...
What if Hitler dies at the same time as a bunch of the Jews, they kill? And it's just a really awkward, like, couple of minutes.
Yeah, you know what would be funny, though? If, like, the Jews were so angry at him that they threw him off the... They're like, oy vey, get off! They threw him off. And then he lands in the Great Before.
And then he comes back. Yeah, he comes back to life. Fucking... anyway, so... some good Hitler jokes there. Obviously always necessary, but the count hasn't been off in centuries. No, it was way too long. Say a couple of years at most, if it's that easy to push through. But anyway, so the thing is this concept, obviously, with the great beyond the alter life, as I say. It brings up 5 or 6 problems right away, and that is all.
Yeah.
It's all you're thinking when you're watching it, isn't it? It's all you're thinking. It's like, wait, how does that work? What about this? That's what your brain is doing. Like, this movie isn't making any sense right now. And with the concept this big and imaginative, of course, the fucking afterlife or the before life is a pretty big concept. You need rules that do actually work. And so, it's not just mindlessly nitpicking. These are problems, Michael. These are problems.
No, yeah, I mean, I agree with you kind of that it's like it matters that people make their stories kind of coherent and make sense. And obviously, like, people will probably give credit to some of, like, the creativeness of the concept, and certainly, there's things I'd give the concept credit for. For example, I really like the kind of ambience of or ambiance of the world, like the way it's all kind of like, it feels like one of those games that's like supposed to be relaxing. Like I know there's like a game called Flow where it's just like you're just a little blob moving around that just plays this relaxing music, and just like, yeah, I love those little relaxing games. This is what that feels like. You're just there and you're like, yes, it's the Great Before. Hello there. And it's got this bloop 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 music. Great, love that. But obviously, if you're going to give it credit for the cool parts of the concept, you also have to start taking names for all of the bits which are a little bit silly and a little bit underdeveloped.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, quite a bit silly.
That's the thing, because you're immediately picking holes in it. He's like, wait, is it that easy to not escape death? And he's the only one, and it's just like It's because the thing is, obviously, with this movie, I think we'll agree later that the theme is good. The overall theme is good. It's just like trying to execute that within the plot.
Yeah.
There, and you're introduced with these concepts, therefore to do that, and when these concepts just aren't that well thought through, I don't know how you do it. You'd need time to think about it. And then it's just like, it has to knock the movie down. Like we said, nitpicks don't knock movies down.
But when you're talking about stuff that's like essential to the plot and it's, I think, that's the main thing. It's just the specific aspect of like him being the one person. And if they would have like been a bit more creative with the writing to come up with some explanation for why it's just him, he's the one person. But no, it's literally, the reason he's the one person is, according to the logic of the film, because he's the only person in centuries who hasn't wanted to die.
Yeah, I mean, Christ, CinemaSins would have a field day with that movie.
Yes.
And sometimes, CinemaSins videos, or just the style in general, is shit. And it's like, okay, you're criticizing movies for, like, stupid shit. It's why we put our nitpicks at the start.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, we put the nitpicks at the start, so therefore, we can get them out of the way, and we can just focus on what goes on within the actual movie. But this, it's just like fucking up to 6 issues with this concept. But anyway, let's get on with the movie. Let's try and forget all that for now. So I've got some more problems actually coming up right now. So, this Joe guy, he is mistakenly called a mentor.
Yes.
And he's assigned to Train 22. That's that person's name.
Yes.
Or that soul's name. A cynical soul who has always lived in the Great Before and desires avoiding Earth. Discovering that Joe is in a coma at a hospital, 22 agrees to let him help find her spark to complete her badge and then give it to them so that he can return home. I think it's pretty convenient that he gets, the soul of all the souls in the universe, but, fair enough, I guess that's what allows the plot to happen. And another issue I do have is they think he's a child psychologist somehow, and these beings just can't tell he isn't that.
Yeah, I mean, it literally just seems to be because he's got a name tag, which,
Yeah, I mean, what happens to the other psychologists? Why are they even giving out name tags?
Yeah, why don't they just know this stuff? It's kind of weird because they're almost like you say, almost seem like super powerful in some sense, but then at the same time, they just at other times just pretty incompetent.
Yeah, exactly. I get, and obviously it's a good idea, to pair him with 22 because it serves the overall theme, because she doesn't want to live because she's scared. Well, she's scared she's not worthy of living, which of course plays into the wider theme. But anyway, so Joe fails to find 22 a passion, so they visit the zone.
Yes.
A place that souls can enter when their passions create a euphoric trance, but which can also become a trap for obsessed lost souls. They meet the Galleon. Is that how I say it? Yeah, Galleon?
Yeah, Galleon.
Yeah, Captain Moonwind, to locate Joe's body on Earth. At this point in the movie, I was just like, okay, they're throwing so many concepts at you. So much stuff is going on. And now a guy with a pirate ship is coming along who was saving hedge fund managers. Yeah.
It's pretty messy. I mean, what do you think about the whole thing is supposed to be about him getting to Earth, and then they just introduce a way of him getting to Earth? It's kind of obviously it's weird because in some sense, they never really explain. I don't think they really get into why it is that just can't be sort of an infinite out for death. Because it seems as long as you can get to that point, obviously he accidentally ends up in the body of the cat, but if he just successfully ended up in the body that he was supposed to be in, then presumably the entire thing set up about how he needs to help 22 find a path, or a spark, sorry, and then obviously they can, she can get the Earth pass, and all of that would just be rendered completely redundant. So I just found it kind of weird how the film introduces this whole thing about this is how you need to get the get to Earth, and you're okay, and then it's just oh, but also you can get to Earth this way, which is way easier and just completely gets around it all. And then really the only reason, like I say, that doesn't work out is just because of a mistake. And
I'm fine with the mistake happening because that allows the movie to happen. So I'm.
No, yeah. I mean, I'm just saying. I just guess I'm saying introducing that element. It kind of feels like. I mean, I'm not sure if there's an obvious point later on where it could be used. You kind of just think to yourself. I mean, all he really needs to do.
Well, what could happen?
Well, okay, so it seems.
I'm just going to say this is what could happen. Is the cat? He could kill himself. The cat, and and 22 could kill themselves. They could go to the great beyond. Or maybe 22 would just end up back in the great before. I'm not sure.
Good rhyme.
Sorry?
Good rhyme.
Yeah. But then, Joe could do the whole thing again, jump off the side, just like
exactly,
he did.
Run away.
And then he could go back, and they could go back to the fucking guy, and then okay, round 2, let's make sure, I get in my right body. They locate his body. Yeah, kill himself in a secluded place to make sure, no one else is near him. And then there you go.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly, yeah. I don't really know how a cat would kill themselves, because, if you're a dog, it's super easy, just eat some chocolate.
Well, I mean, jump off a building, I would assume.
Yeah, but, that doesn't kill cats.
He needs to make sure that he doesn't break his bones as well, which is great. Actually, there's another nitpick. How does he not break his fucking bones when he jumps off?
I mean, to be honest, actually, I would also say, it's kind of I don't really... him dying from falling down a manhole doesn't actually make that much sense to me either, because, manholes, are they ever, that deep? I guess, but I don't know. I know that people.
Well, you'd probably break your leg, but
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Unless you hit your head,
yeah,
it wouldn't kill you. And obviously, you fall, with your fucking, he's walking. He'd have hit his legs first. So that's what I'm saying. If he's dead from that, his legs should also be broken.
Yeah, I mean, also the other strange thing about this, is that the reason why he's in, and to be honest, it's a bit weird because it's kind of they could have used this actually to get around the whole why the count is off thing, because it's kind of in some sense, presumably the reason why he's in a coma instead of being dead is because he hasn't gone to the great beyond yet. But it's kind of what if you got your head chopped off and then you fell off the road to the great beyond and you weren't in the great beyond? Are you in a coma with your head chopped off? It's very convenient that he happens to die in a way where he can conceivably be alive for a little while, And I guess like you could maybe say, so like they could have like introduced the thing of like, well, the specific fact that he's like on the edge of death is why he's able to fall off.
Oh,
like,
that's good. I like that.
Yeah, like that would have worked as like an explanation for why the cat would be off. Because yeah, basically that would have solved two problems. Because as things stand, yeah, it's like, I mean,
yeah, like he's halfway there. Like he has a path that no one else can do because he's in a coma. So yeah, no, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like he could have a thing where like maybe like somebody's there when he's in a coma and they're like, come back, and he's like trying to run back, but then he kind of, you know, trips or something, and then he falls off. And it's like, yeah, you know, oh, sorry, you're stuck in a coma and now you're in the Great Before. And it's like, hey, yeah, that makes sense.
Yes, you know, yeah, that's good. I like that. I like that concept a lot. But yeah, they didn't do that. So yeah, what if you got stabbed? Yeah, what do you get? And it's just the question of, oh, you just bleed out, and like that's just physics. Like, you know,
exactly,
you've got a massive hole in your chest. Well, you can't come back. I'm sorry, because yeah. But anyway, so we're getting too far into that. But I will say, the rules with, you know, Moonwind, you know,
yeah,
he has to find a weak point or a thin point. Okay, I mean that's the thing. They just seem to be making up the rules as they go along.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. It's their movie. They can do that. No. Obviously they make up the rules as they go along. Obviously they do. But it feels like
kind of arbitrary.
Yeah. It's like, well, here's the problem. It's fine having these loopholes, but you can't introduce these loopholes immediately and then have the main character use them, because it just seems like, oh well, okay.
Yeah, they're only there for the main character.
Yeah, we thought this one thing, and then all of a sudden things switch on a dime, and we realize, okay, it's actually a different thing, and you know, therefore, it just seems a bit shit, because you set the stakes, you say, okay, these are the rules, and then you can change them, and you can change the rules, but then the character can't exploit the change in the rules immediately, because it's like, okay, you can do whatever you want then. So you need a bit of time between them. I reckon that would make things better. But yes, let's talk about the zone, Michael, the concept of the zone.
Yes.
So, you know, forget about all the rules and the stupid, you know, the concept and how it doesn't really make sense. Let's talk about the zone, the concept of the zone, because I do like it. It's a good concept. One activity can't just matter to you because you can get so obsessed with it, and then you can become a lost soul.
I mean, I like that idea of like, because initially the zone's kind of presented as like a sort of unambiguously good thing, where it's just like, yeah, you're in the zone. It's like you're just connected with your soul or whatever. But then it's obviously established like, oh, but sometimes if you become too, like, it's a thin line between being in the zone and being a lost soul, because it's like you're in the zone.
Life can crush souls. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, it's a lot like a concept in The Sims. They have the concept of being in the zone. It's when you achieve a certain level of enthusiasm for a particular hobby, and then when you're doing that hobby, it reduces the rate at which your needs deplete. Dylan is presently in the zone for gaming because he's really lazy and he just goes off and plays video games all the time. So now when he starts playing video games, he literally gets into the zone, which is fun. It means he doesn't lose.
That is fun.
Yeah, Sims, what a good game.
It is a great game, and we need to see that Sims picture of Dylan, or that character.
Yeah, actually, I do need to take a picture of that.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's get into okay. So obviously, what he does next is with this loophole. Literally, it's a hole that they go through. This a physical manifestation of a loophole, if ever there was one. And of course, he accidentally bumps fucking 22 as well, and he falls into the body of a cat. And 22 falls into Joe's body. So, the cats have souls?
Yes. Obviously.
Cats have souls. Yeah.
I mean, that's what everyone always says, that cats are like really nice and sweet and dogs are horrible, so that's why cats have souls.
Yeah, where is the cut-off point, Michael? Do insects have souls now?
That's a very good point.
I thought it was just, you know, they say humans. The Earth pass. Yeah, there's an implication that there are different planets where you could go to. They never say another planet, but there is that implication. So
maybe this is a Scientology thing. Isn't that like a Scientology thing about how like everybody's soul is actually on a spaceship or something, and like they need to discover their true self? Yeah,
some shit like that. But yeah, so okay, let's just think about this. So therefore, you know, you could if you fucking find your purpose in life, or sorry, you discover that, yes, I'm going to enjoy living, you know, fucking playing football or whatever, and then you get put into a body of a fucking chihuahua. What happens there?
That's a good point. Well, I mean, you know what? You're really touching on something I find really funny, which is that something I couldn't get out of my head. They spend all this time like focusing on what do you want to be and who do you want to be, completely ignoring the fact that the vast, vast, vast majority of people, well, actually maybe not the vast, vast majority anymore, but at least half the people who are born, and to be honest, I think frankly more, will just live their lives in desperate poverty and die. Like that's it. Like
Okay.
you think about like how like in Uganda, for example, like 50% of their population is below the age of 10 or something, and it's like like you've got pretty good odds of just being like born into some subsistence family in sub-Saharan Africa.
Having existential questions is a real
it's a first world problem.
First world bourgeoisie problem.
Yeah. It should have just been like, welcome to heaven, but only for people who live in the Western world. It's like, welcome to first world heaven. And it's just like, where's like Africa heaven, or like like Africa great before, and it's just like that's not as fun. Africa great before is just like a bunch of people being like, I really hope I just like am fucking in one of the nice places, like just said like please the fucking like middle class person in Lagos. That's all I ask for.
Yeah. Okay, but here's the thing with okay, so I was talking about the cats, obviously, the fact that cats have souls, and you then went on this tangent.
Well, it's just because it's because you were talking about like the idea of like, what if somebody comes up with all these ideas about what they want in their life, and then they become an animal? I was kind of what if someone comes up with all this stuff and then they become a poor person?
What are you doing right now? What are you doing?
I'm talking to you.
You're just but you're explaining yourself. But I know what you did because I just heard it. So you don't need to explain to yourself. Okay. But the thing is, I was talking about obviously the cats and stuff, and you're like, yes, but if you're born into poverty, basically, like a lot of the world's population is, who the fuck cares that you got your spark from playing fucking tennis or
just for the
baking?
record, I also agree with your thing about how like you could come up with your spark about tennis balls, and then to be fair though, like if you're a cat, you could probably still be into tennis. Because
okay, but what if you really like fucking painting, and then okay, my spark is I love to paint. That's what gives me joy in life. But then you become a hamster.
Yeah.
Then
you've also got to consider the reverse. What if your spark is cramming nuts and berries into your cheek pouches, and then you become a human? Imagine how disappointing that would be.
You're probably gay. Or...
Nuts.
Okay, right. A woman who enjoys that.
Yeah. Sometimes we forget that there are people who like having sex with men that aren't gay.
Yeah, sometimes.
You sometimes forget women exist.
Yeah.
Don't tell J.K. Rowling.
Okay, sorry?
I said don't tell J.K. Rowling, because it's like women exist.
Stop
you get it.
Inserting J.K. Rowling.
You do it sometimes.
When?
I don't know. Sometimes.
There we go. That's great. Anyway, so what was I going to say? Oh yeah. So okay.
Still on the cat thing.
He goes into the soul of the cat, and obviously there's some bullshit about that, cats having souls, and of course the cat comes back to life later on, which is just very confusing. Cats have 9 lives though, so there you go.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of weird they didn't do anything about that as like a joke.
Yeah, I know, but maybe that can explain this plot hole away. But anyway, so a lot of fish out of water stuff then happens, basically. And I realise we've spent the vast majority of this review just making or trying to poke holes.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say trying to poke holes. The holes are obviously there. We can just see them of like the rules of this movie. But anyway, let's stop doing that now, I guess, because. The next section of the movie is the section I talked about right at the beginning, which is just half an hour where just nothing really happens. And I realised it, like I said, when I was watching the movie, I was like, I haven't put anything down in my notes in ages, because there's a lot of fish out of water stuff with 22 before 22 meets Joe's mother. A lot of swapped body comedy. Joe needs his pants changed and he needs his haircut, and the barber comes in and he helps with the themes a bit, which we'll get onto a bit later. But just not a lot happens really.
It's not dense. It's kind of like one of these films, like I was kind of thinking about it and trying to work out like my opinion on this film, and I was thinking like it's actually not the kind of film where I'd be like really excited to. Well, one reason why it would be hard to get excited about watching this film again is because it isn't like a lot of other Pixar films where there's like everything feels very necessary. They're very, very good at their kind of tight script writing with their stories. This doesn't feel like that.
Yeah, no, that's what I do feel as well. It does not feel like a typical, a good Pixar movie.
Yeah.
Where, I said it's good. It's good because of the theme. That's what really saves this movie. But it just doesn't feel that well thought out. It's like, okay, this is what I want to go for with this. I want to make a movie about an existential crisis that somebody could face, and a movie to basically help them through it, and what is the true meaning of life, all of that shit. And all of this, I'll create these imaginative concepts, but I'll just won't really think about the rules as well, that you could easily just pick holes in. And then, of course, I won't really think about the middle of the movie, and it can just be these two characters, doing wacky stuff until we get to the end. So basically we're going to cut out a chunk of the movie, and then just talk about the ending. So 22 tries to steal Joe's body.
Yes.
And again, she doesn't need to. She can just, do what she did before.
Yeah.
Go back to the fucking great before, and then find that captain, Moonwind, and then do the same thing she did once more. So she doesn't need to steal his body.
Yeah, and she can steal a baby's body.
Yeah, I mean,
Baby
you couldn't
mind.
really do a lot of stuff with the baby.
Oh, no, that's actually something, of course. What about abortion? The film does not touch on that. I would want to know, do aborted babies have souls? Because that would answer a lot
you
of
only get a soul
questions.
you only get a soul when you're born.
Oh, wow, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
so they're really dunking on pro-lifers.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, so we get into it. So obviously, she doesn't manage. Well, they both get captured by the New Zealand accountant.
Yes,
and they go back to the Great Before, and then the real character moment happens when, of course, 22 gives Joe his Earth Pass, or 22 gives their Earth Pass to Joe.
Yes,
because Joe then can go back to Earth, and he goes back to his body, and then he plays on the piano, and he's very good at it. And hey, he gets in the quartet. He's in, and he isn't happy though. He's had his life fulfilled by, or basically he thinks that his life will be fulfilled if he becomes a professional, pianist or jazz pianist. But he realizes that he hasn't had his life fulfilled by getting this gig, by achieving this dream, and just living his life and enjoying it was basically his purpose.
Yes,
and that's everyone's purpose. And obviously he goes back to the Great Before, sees 22, shows her a maple seed, and then of course there's a realization that the spark is not a soul's purpose, but indicates an intention to live. And you are always good enough to live, even if you are shit at what you do. Just enjoy life. Just enjoy the piano. If you play it, hey, if you make it professionally, great. But just enjoy it. I guess that is what the message that Joe realizes.
Yeah. People don't have a purpose.
It's that you're Richard Ayoade.
Yeah, that's pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was great. But I think overall, it's a great theme. Like, the meaning of life is just to enjoy life.
Yeah, it's literally like the classic, what do you want to be when you're older? And then, because you're an alpha, you say, happy. Because they assume that it must describe a job. They say, it must describe a job or what you want to be when you're older. But what if you hit them with the happy? That'll learn them.
Yeah, I think that may have been the answer I gave when I've been asked that.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I said baby goat.
I always. That's funny. It's funny. That's really funny. I always just thought, I don't know what I want to be. I mean, just, I mean, I guess I wanted to be a footballer when I was very young.
Nerd.
Oh, it's a nerd to try to be a footballer, is it? Is that right, Michael?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Should have wanted to be a games developer. Something cool like that.
Yeah, something cool like that, yeah. No, but, I don't know what. I just wanted to just,
Yeah, so you really related to that message then. You were like, yeah, man, it's not about being a jazz teacher.
Well, that's the thing. He does a good job as a jazz teacher, and he helps kids, fulfill their dreams, or just get really good at, playing their instruments and be happy. And he should take happiness from that, but he doesn't take happiness from that because he's so obsessed
with this idea of who he's supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly. He is. He really is. And, it's a theme, like I said, I do agree with. And you are talking about, an existential question in a Pixar movie, which is great. Again, it doesn't really feel like a kid's movie necessarily, but, that's good. It's a really great theme. Maybe the best theme that's ever been in a Pixar movie. Although I do really like the original Toy Story. The two original Toy Stories, the themes there.
No, yeah. I would also, I guess we should point out it's a classic want need thing that Pixar do a lot, which is, I think actually quite a good. I like that formula. It's like he wants to fulfill his purpose, but he needs to realize that actually there isn't some prescribed purpose from on high, and whatever he does that makes him happy and makes him feel like he's living life. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I mean the life purpose is. It's basically like a trap, really.
Yeah.
It can damage you. It can hurt you.
And make you into a lost soul.
Yeah, it can do that, obviously, but I don't think he is a lost soul. Obviously, it can go that far. But for instance, when he was with his barber, he's like,
oh yeah, it's good to talk to you about someone other than jazz.
Yeah, like his barber, has an interesting life. They could be friends or whatever, but they just didn't talk to each other that much, and it's like you miss out. You don't appreciate how much you could be giving, or he like I said before, he doesn't appreciate how much he gives to his students. Like, he doesn't appreciate that. He just like when that student who calls him up to be in this quartet, the reason why he did it is because this Mr. Gardner, as he calls him, or Mr. G, gave him, he was the only reason why he wanted to go to school. He says a line like that, and he just doesn't acknowledge it. He should be like, wow, that's incredible. Look at what difference I made to this guy's life. Yeah. But instead, he's just like, he doesn't acknowledge it at all. He doesn't care because he's so focused on being a professional jazz pianist. And so, yeah, if you're so focused on obtaining this life purpose, it can, unfortunately, harm you, basically.
No, yeah. I mean, obviously, I also really like it. I mean, I like the whole thing where he just kind of like realizes all the kind of complexities to life, I guess. Like, he kind of like realizes and he like thinks about all the things he's seen. And no, yeah, I mean, also it's kind of like, it's a little bit like the whole take pleasure in the little things. I mean, it's a lot like the final scene in the movie Fargo, isn't it? When he's like, oh, I got like my stamp got collected for selected for the 2 pence piece, or the 2 cents piece. It's not so great. And Francis McDormand's like, sure it is. Whenever they raise postage, people need the little stamps. We got a pretty good life norm. And he's like, I love you, Margie. That's what. Yeah.
I love you, Margie. Yeah. No, yeah, and no, that is correct. Yeah, and you think about, obviously, the character development of 22. Feels so weird calling the character 22. I keep thinking of like Taylor Swift.
I was going to say, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22.
I'm feeling 22. Yeah, so basically it's just regular old living is what you need, because of course Joe says, she's like, I think I found my purpose. And Joe's like, no, you've just walked around a bit and, collected some stuff. That's just regular old living. And of course, that's the irony. That is purpose. And basically that's her character arc where she realizes that, I know all the stuff I was doing, that was, just enjoying life, that is enough.
Yeah, that's what life is, the 6 inches in front of your face.
Okay.
That's from Any Given Sunday.
Yeah, I don't think the 6 inches part is...
Oh wait,
is that?
I swear he says like life's a game of inches. Maybe it's not 6 inches.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe 6 inches is from the porn parody version.
Yeah, that sounds like the gay parody from Any Given Sunday. Yeah. But he does say life is a game of inches, like inch by inch. We're gonna, and obviously it's not really related to this theme.
Well, it's like inch by inch, like the little things you enjoy, inch by inch. It's like the maple seeds.
Yeah, it's not the little things you enjoy though. It's like. In Any Given
I'm imagining
Sunday.
Any Given Sunday is a much more wholesome film.
Yeah, it's not really about that. It's about defeating the opposition, and it's like, hey, the little things add up to winning. So make sure if you win those little battles, that will translate overall on the scoreboard at the end. But yeah, so kind of a different thing to this movie. But yeah, just basically this movie's message. Just be happy that you are alive, and that's fine. Yeah. That's fine. Just enjoy life. That is the purpose. Just to enjoy life. Yeah. And it's a great movie, therefore, for failed artists.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, you know what they say: those who can do, those who can't teach.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's powerful. I was just going to say that, of course, this is also like that song by the Andrew Jackson Jihad, Fortune Teller, where he says, "Do you want me to read your fortune? Because I can. I can put it in a language that you can understand. You're rich enough. You're famous enough. You've got all the things you need to survive. You've got love, and you're alive."
Yeah,
isn't that beautiful?
That's good. But the thing is, where this theme perhaps falls down is some people can't enjoy life. Again, it goes back to what we talked about.
Oh, the poor people.
Yeah, the poor people. And the cats. You talked about Africa. What are you born in some shanty town in fucking Indonesia? Like, what happens then? You're probably not going to enjoy life like making fucking shoes for rich Westerners all day, and the fucking company you work for has to install nets outside your windows so you don't commit suicide.
To stop you. That's what the fucking Great Beyond should have done.
Yeah,
why didn't we think of that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but that that's the thing. It's like, oh yeah, you should enjoy life. Well, and I agree with that message. I think that's a great message, but you need to obtain a standard of living where enjoying life is even possible.
Yeah.
Because to make it a bit political, Michael, to go into that realm, even though we already kind of have, there are, rising cases, of course, of mental health issues in the Western world, I guess. That has been talked about a lot more recently. And I've seen people say this, and I agree, like a lot of, like, oh, you need to work on your mental health, like your mental well-being, etc. Like, make sure you're happy. A lot of what cures mental health issues and people being happy is just like more money.
Yeah.
Because if you're concerned about, oh, I have to pay rent, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to, eat properly, and, I have all these other expenses, and I'm working so hard for so long, which unfortunately, because of a little, what's the system called that kind of perpetuates this? It
is corporatism. A libertarian told me that it's corporatism when the government gets involved in capitalism, which would otherwise be fine.
Yeah, crony corporatism.
It's crony capitalism that does it.
Yeah, it's crony. You got to add the crony word. No, yeah, obviously that's the thing, and people are like, if I just fucking worked a bit less, I had a bit more money, my mental health would be so much better, and therefore, like, it's hard to enjoy life, really.
Yeah, it's like that Onion article. Health experts recommend standing up at work, walking out the door, and never coming back. Which is like it's like a joke on like the standing desks thing, but it's like it's not standing up; it's standing up and leaving.
But I mean, it's good. But that's the thing, some people like can't.
Can't do that. Yeah,
if they hate their work, they have to go in every day, and they don't have any better options.
Yeah, so really, it should be health experts recommend standing up and starting a socialist revolution.
Yeah, maybe, but that's the issue, man. So yeah, again, this movie, I wouldn't expect it to delve into those topics. I wouldn't expect things to get that deep, but that is one issue I have with the theme. It's like, well, some people, whether it's here in the Western world or indeed I in some fucking Far East country where you have to work in a factory all day, or making, like I said, shoes or iPhones or whatever, it's pretty impossible to enjoy life. Certainly as Joe does, who gets to, he's got a pretty good life.
Well, yeah, I mean, literally, like, his mum says about how, like, his dad was able to enjoy himself because his mum paid for everything.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fucking sweet deal, really. But anyway, so yeah, but again, we wouldn't expect Pixar to kind of go into that kind of thing. I mean, it's already in like a supposed kids movie. It's already pretty good that they've gone into the whole existential life and determinism, those kind of questions. So let's conclude now, Michael. You go first.
Yes. All right. This film is a good film, but is it a great film? Is it up there with other Pixar films? Yeah, not so much. I mean, obviously, there's the thematic stuff, which almost seems to exist independent. Like, usually with these, I mean, especially with Toy Story, it's kind of like the theme is really well woven into this incredibly compelling narrative. I'd say that's not so much true in this film. It feels like this film kind of, admittedly, like, halfway through this film, I kind of, like, found myself trying to remember what was the essential kind of, like, thing the film was trying to get at. Because, I don't think this film is as thematically dense as it could be, and as, for example, I think other Pixar films have been. I do think the message is good, although obviously a little bit limited, but at least for people like you and me, it applies decently, seeing as we're not, Chinese people working in sweatshops. So yeah, I mean, overall, yeah, I'm going to give the theme like a positive review and say that I'm enthusiastic about that. But I think that the plot lets it down. I can't really imagine this being the kind of film where I'm like, oh, I really want to watch this film to experience that plot again, experience the way it unfolds. And obviously there's the fact that several aspects of the plot, like, you can't really appreciate the narrative that much because the narrative is filled with holes. And obviously one of the reasons why it's worth actually putting in the effort to try to come up with things to make the narrative make sense is because it makes the narrative more satisfying. That's like the whole point of a compelling narrative in a way. It's like, oh, it makes sense. Like, you see, and obviously the classic example is the fact that when things are just introduced so they can immediately solve problems, that feels significantly more lazy than obviously the whole Chekhov's gun thing where you set it up and it's like you see it reincorporated. Oh, that's clever. There's no moment in this film plot-wise where you're like, oh, that's really clever. So overall, that's not great. The animation, by the way, I mean, it is an animated film, and I should just say I don't have too much positive to say about the animation except for that the Soul World is interesting, but the thing about Pixar films generally is that their animation is just the same in every single film, so usually it doesn't stand out. Overall, I'm going to give the film I was thinking of a low 7, but I think I will give it a middle. No, I'm going to give it a low 7, actually. I will give it a low 7 because I just, don't think it quite does enough for me to really love it.
You know what? I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 as well.
Oh, good.
I wrote it down. I wrote it down before you started your review, and I think it's interesting that we've kind of landed on the same score because I think it's really hard to give this movie any other score but about, a 7 out of 10, because obviously the theme is really good. 9 out of 10 for theme. Really is. It's something that I agree with, and it's something that's a bit complex, and it's nicely executed at the end of the movie. But yeah, the actual plot isn't good. It's like you said before, it's not clever. There's no compelling narrative, as you said, throughout the movie. Things don't really seem like they've been thought out too well, and there's this 30-minute stretch, of course, in the middle where shit just happens, and you're like, oh, we're nearly at the end of the movie. Obviously the beginning with introducing all these concepts, I hate like picking holes in movies over and over again and just saying, yeah, what about this? And yeah, what about this? And like going over plot holes. I wouldn't say I hate doing that, but I hate doing it over and over again, like we have kind of done in this review. But it's just so necessary when, there's just so many obvious things you can point out, and we can't help ourselves, Michael, unfortunately, when that is the case with movies like this. I think that brings it down as well. I think overall 7 out of 10 is fair. Again, just watch the last 30 minutes if you ever want to rewatch this movie. Yeah, that's what I'd say. Yeah, probably. Anyway, Michael. Let's go now. Oh no, that's it. I think we're done because we don't have any. Oh yeah, what are we doing next week? That's what we.
Next week we are doing Reservoir Dogs, and that's because it's the 30-year anniversary. So that's going to be a very similar film in lots of ways, I think.
Yes, Reservoir Dogs, indeed. So thank you for listening. We have been selecting and reflecting on Soul because it won Best Picture at the 2021 Oscars. The Oscars have started. Well, not quite, because the Best Picture Oscars is when we do It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year.
Yes.
That's when it truly starts. We're not quite there yet. A little taster here, though. So thanks for listening, and see you next week for Reservoir Dogs. Who have you been, Michael?
I've been Michael.
I've been Luke. Thanks for listening, and goodbye.
Goodbye.